Hey guys, I'm Brogan. Today in this video, we're going to dive into what I think is one of the most unique products I've ever stumbled across on Amazon. Had to pick it up and test it out. And that right here is the digital gaming frame right here from AISLPC. This is a two-part product. In mode one, we have gaming mode. That makes this a plug-and-play game console, over 20 emulators included, over 15,000 plug-and-play games. Down here we've got a bunch of Neo Geo titles displayed across the bottom of the box, so at the very least we should have some amazing Neo Geo games offered on here. We also have two wireless controllers here, and then in mode 2 we have picture mode. So that turns this gaming frame simply into a digital picture frame that can store up to 160,000 photos on here. We've got 2 gigabytes of RAM, we've got 64 gigabyte storage capacity. Super excited to dive into this. You guys can check out the product up here at the top of your screen on Amazon. Just $99.99. Seems like a great deal, but we have to find out for ourselves. Before we dive into this though, be sure to hit subscribe right here on the Brogan YouTube channel. You can also check out my new podcast channel, which will be launching soon, right up here at the top of your screen. Drop a subscribe over there. And if you're a wrestling fan, check out the Marcus Buff Bagwell YouTube channel, where I go every other Thursday with Marcus on there and host his podcast with him, and also produce all of the other content on the channel for him. So check out those channels. Let's dive into this product though. All right, so nicely packaged here. We have a little user manual for our digital gaming frame. It walks through basically the layout of our controllers here, different port options, which we'll walk through momentarily. Some of the key functions of the controller, getting started, how to connect to Wi-Fi, how to set up your digital picture frame, all that important stuff. All right, let's start opening this up. So first off, picture frame is right here, nicely packaged up. We've got a, micro SD card and adapter right here. Let's make sure that's the capacity as advertised, 64 gigabytes. It is, however, just a generic micro SD card, so probably good to back it up onto like a Samsung or SanDisk micro SD card. They're just way more reliable than just generic branding. But power supply cable, USB-A on one side. We have the part that will actually attach over to the power outlet as well right here. Go ahead and open that up just so we can easily set this up momentarily. So USB-A side is going to plug right into this. That goes into obviously a power outlet. We've got one dongle here for what I assume is going to be for our controllers, and they should be probably underneath here. Yes, all right, perfect. So we've got one here, one here. Basically it looks like a PlayStation style controller here. A, B, X, and Y rather than the shapes on here. Probably as to not, start any wars with Sony. We've got our L and R shoulder buttons, trigger buttons right below that. D-pad, honestly, it doesn't feel bad. I mean, it's very lightweight, very cheap, very much your affordable, typical controller, but definitely has good action on the buttons. Analog sticks seem pretty decent. Runs on 2 AAA batteries, and I believe, one dongle is going to work for both of these. They don't provide individual ones, which is good. It's convenient for you. So go ahead and I'll actually have to grab some batteries momentarily for this, but looks pretty good. And now this right here is also what I assume is going to be like our kickstand to the back of the actual frame. So let's take a look at the frame now. So I didn't see anywhere where it talks about the size of the screen. We're going to measure that momentarily, but here it is. This runs off of that power supply cable, and I do see a spot in the back right here for our kickstand to attach right there. So all you have to do is just simply slide it in, pivot it, and it stands up beautifully on its own. You can see it right there. We have a screen protector over the actual screen. I will measure that in a second. So now on the back side here, we have our power button right up here at the top. We have 2 spots where you can actually hang this on the wall if you want to, either from a screw or from a nail. This is very lightweight, so it's not going to be a problem. You don't even have to be into a stud, as long as you put your nail or screw into the wall effectively with a molly or right into the sheetrock. You should be good to go here, where it's not going to fall off or anything like that. This weighs almost nothing. It's super lightweight here. Power button though right there. We have all of our ports located right here on the side. So first off, we have our SD card slot right here, and it's going to take the full SD card adapter, not a micro SD card that is found within here. You put the whole thing right in. After that, we have our headphone jack right next to that, USB-A port, USB-C port, and then we have our DC cable connection right there, which is going to be for, again, our power supply cable. It just simply plugs in at the bottom right there, and then you can go down, and if you want to use that kickstand here as I am, you just simply put it on your desk and you're good to go. So if you want to use the picture frame side of this, the photo mode, what you'll do is you'll go to the Framo app. There's actually a QR code on the back side of the manual. Scan that. You can access it through Android or iOS devices, and you'll be able to sync up your photos right from your phone via that app over to your picture frame right here. But what I'm most excited about is the gaming side of this. I want to see what the plug-and-play game console side of this gaming frame has to offer. So we'll go through all the different games, game collections on here. We'll dive into a bunch of them, test out the performance as well to make sure everything works effectively on here. But let's measure the screen first and then dive into those games. All right, guys, here we are loaded up into Emulation Station here on our gaming picture frame, and we're currently hovering over the all games list. Inside here, the first thing I notice is 13,157 games on here. That is significantly less than what's being advertised at 15,000. However, 13,157 is still a whole lot of games to have included at your fingertips here, plug and play, ready to go. So I'm not too bent out of shape about it. However, I do think that they need to obviously dial that in a little bit and not advertise more than what they're actually providing. So we're going to jump into the all games list here. And inside here, you see we have a text list on the left-hand side. We don't seem to have anything scraped as far as I can tell anyways. I'm going to scroll down this list here. The other thing is it doesn't seem to be in alphabetical order, so locating titles in here may be a bit of a challenge. Let's scroll down a little bit further though, because sometimes they put the numbers before the actual game titles and then it kind of sorts itself out later on, but we're going to hold this down for a little bit here. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case here. So yeah, just a random assortment of titles on here, and just for the record, I have brought the volume down to almost nothing here just so I'm not having to talk over background music and, you know, little bits of noise as you make your selection. But yeah, nothing is scraped on here, probably just because they're trying to take up less space on the SD card. But let's back out of this collection because unfortunately we're just not going to be able to use the all games list all that effectively here. Actually, let me check one thing out here. If we hit select, we can go to the jump to here, but is it going to work because those numbers are there first? Let's see. So if we wanted like F titles, for example, we would select F. And it does actually bring some of those up, and some of them are scraped, so that's interesting. Looks like we got a handful of scraped ones there, but then we're back to, well, it's kind of random. Some are scraped, some are not. All right, so I think the all games list is going to be a little bit of a bust here. Let's back out though. We'll just go collection by collection. We'll get a better understanding of where, you know, things kind of sit on here. There's a favorites collection on here. This is what you should set up for yourself just to effectively be able to access what you're looking for when you're looking to access it. There are some titles already put in here. Looks like Mortal Kombat 3, few others here, and again, you can see some titles are scraped where you have the screenshot, cover art. In this case, you have a picture of the cartridge as well. And then other titles like up here for Super Street Fighter 2, there's nothing scraped. Same thing for Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat. So a little bit hit or miss there, but let's back out. Capcom System 1, 32 games. We'll jump in here. All of this is scraped, so we do have some cover art here for each of the titles. They are abbreviated in the list over there on the left-hand side. You know, it makes it a little bit harder to navigate. Oh, it actually morphs into video previews. So I'm definitely liking this. This is the way that I think every collection should be on here. If you're not going to do it consistently, collection by collection, you probably shouldn't do it at all, is my opinion, with the video previews anyways. But pretty easy to navigate. I wish the titles were kind of spelled out in full rather than the file abbreviations, but it is what it is. You can look at the photos that go along with it and the video preview that it morphs into and be able to make your selection effectively. We'll back out. Next is going to be Capcom System 2 with 37 games. Pretty consistent here as well. Everything is scraped. And does it morph into a video preview? It does. Perfect. Looks pretty good. We'll back out of that one. Capcom System 3, just 4 games over here.
good titles, and it does morph as well into the video. So pretty consistent across all of the Capcom system collections. We have system tools in here. You can go in here and tweak your settings, make your different adjustments to like file manager if you wanted to, stuff like that. We'll back out. We have PC Engine here next with 360 games. PC Engine actually has a featured games collection within there, which we could open up. And it looks like this is one of those collections that does not have the scraped data. We'll back out. The main collection here, though, does. And it doesn't look like it morphs into a video preview. It's just going to be a still shot, but very nicely put together here. Afterburner 2, great game. And again, 360 titles in here. See, we got Batman. I love the way it looks. We have the cover art. We have the screenshot from the game. We have the logo. So I don't even have to look at the text list on the left-hand side. I can just scroll through everything picture by picture here and decide what I want to play. So we'll back out. Next collection down is Famicom Disk System, 1,639 games. If we open this up, we do have some sub-collections up here at the top. But let's just go down to the main titles. It doesn't look like this is 720 degrees. We don't have any scrape data here at all, not even a screenshot, not even a logo, nothing at all. So luckily though, this one does appear to be in alphabetical order. So you can actually navigate it pretty easily here. And it's absolutely stacked with over 1,600 games. So back out, we have Nintendo Entertainment System here with 500 games. Also no scrape data here. Maybe they're trying to not scrape the data for the Nintendo games. Not sure that would make a difference in the end, but that could possibly be what they're doing here. Or maybe they just ran out of space and had to stop including, that data in there. That does take up, especially videos, they do take up quite a bit of storage, space on a SD card. So we will back out, but a massive collection there with 500 games. We have Nintendo Game Boy, 3,675 games for original Game Boy. That's an insane amount of games. We have the sub-collections up here, which is classic games, featured games, official game ROM complete works, it says there. Way too many titles here for original Game Boy, but I mean, whatever you're looking for, I would imagine they have it here. Also, nothing scraped here, but it is what it is. Still easy to navigate, I would say, because it is in alphabetical order. We'll back out. We have Super Famicom here with 451 games. Same deal, nothing scraped, but alphabetical order. No, it's not in alphabetical order for this one. You see you have the numbers there, and then the titles, but the titles are just random. So you go from J to W here, to G, to R. Next one is Super Nintendo, 1,332 games for Super Nintendo. We do have we have Super Famicom up here as well in its own little folder. So yeah, I mean, again, lots of great games in here. I love this one from Real Monsters, but this one at least is in alphabetical order without the numbers in front, so you can navigate it very, very easily. You can also hit select, go to the jump to if you want to save some time. So we'll jump back out and we'll dive into some of these games just to make sure everything is working and it is a good experience, but we'll keep it moving for right now. Nintendo 64, 187 games. Now, this is going to concern me right out of the gate. We'll open this up. We actually do have scrape data here. So does it morph into a video preview? It does not. It's just going to be the screenshot, the logo, and the box art there. Looks very nice, but just looking at the specs on this, I don't know that we're going to have enough power to actually effectively emulate N64. I'm a little surprised to see N64 on here. N64 can be tough to emulate and to get a good performance out of games, especially racing games like this. Love California Speed, but I know what it requires. And I just feel like we're going to fall a little short here, but we'll keep it moving. We'll come back, though, and we'll check out the majority of these collections to make sure the performance is good. Game Boy Color, 2,099 games here. Way too many games again. We have the subfolders up here at the top. Very nicely put together. We have the screenshot, box art, logo as well, so you can navigate it just from the images here, not even looking at the left-hand side again. This is how I would like it to be everywhere in a perfect world. It would be great to eliminate the video previews and just be able to do this for all the collections rather than just a handful of them. But yeah, too many games there. Game Boy Advance, this one actually has the right amount of games. 1081 is a good number for this. Whoops. Go back over there. I hit the wrong button. Very nicely put together. Again, scraped beautifully, easy to navigate, alphabetical order. Definitely liking this. And this is a collection that should perform very nicely on something like this. We'll back out. We've got Nintendo DS here with 15 games. Let's see what games we have. Some Lego Star Wars, some Lego Harry Potter and Batman, Grand Theft Auto Chinatown's in here, Mario Kart DS, Need for Speed, some Pokemon, some Spider-Man, some more Star Wars, Super Mario 64 DS. Pretty cool assortment of games in this collection. Assassin's Creed up there at the top. I missed that initially. So looks pretty good. Scraped very nicely, easy to navigate. We'll back out. Sega Game Gear, 263 games. Looks good here. We have Sega Mega Drive, 1,221 games. Scraped nicely here as well. And there is a lot of crossover, just remembering to the Super Nintendo collection to this one right here. There definitely will be a lot of crossover between the two. I'm not complaining though, there's some really great games in here. Back out. Next one down is Sega Dreamcast. Also a little weary of this one, similar to that of Nintendo 64. I'm not sure this is going to effectively emulate on something like this, but 5 games. Let's see what's included. I'm a big Dreamcast guy myself. We've got Crazy Taxi 2, some Dead or Alive. We've got Giga Wing 2. We've got Legacy of Kain, and some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Great games in here, but yeah, I feel like they might be a little sluggish. We'll have to jump in and find out for ourselves, though, momentarily. We'll back out. Neo Geo. This is what we saw on the cover of this box. 204 games here. And we've got, nice, we've got a Metal Slug specific collection right up there at the top for us. Let's dive into that. Those are my favorite games. Looks like they're all in here, too. They're not scraped, but let's see if the main assortment of games here has scraped data. It does not. All right, so it is in alphabetical order though, so it's still easy to navigate. We'll back out. Original PlayStation, 23 games here. We saw some Crash Bandicoot there on the cover. Hopefully those titles are in here. They are. Crash Team Racing is my go-to game for PlayStation. I love that game. Marvel vs. Capcom. We've got some Mortal Kombat here. Street Fighter, Tekken 3, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Nice, the original one. Good stuff. All right, so we'll back out. We'll definitely jump into this too, because this is PlayStation, original PlayStation usually emulates pretty well, but we got to see if it's sluggish, you know, and all that. So we'll test that out for sure. Sony PSP, 29 games in here. Now, there's a sub-collection called Newly Added Games up here. Ghost Recon is one. All right, so let's see what titles. So these are actually PSP games. They're not PSP minis. So I'm not sure, you know, how they would perform on here. Let's see if Ridge Racer's on here. So you got the Tekken titles in here. Not seeing Ridge Racer, but we've got Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny. I mean, these games are somewhat demanding, and some of them are scraped like this one. Some are not like this one here for Tekken Dark Resurrection. I believe that's Tekken 5. MotoGP. Yeah, I feel like it's going to underperform on these, but I'm not 100% sure. We're going to find out momentarily. And we are back to our all games list. So that's all the collections, everything that's included on here. It's pretty decent. Again, 13,000 and change. So about, you know, what, 1,900 less than what they're advertising. Not a huge deal to me personally, but it is misadvertising, and I think they need to, you know, rectify that situation. But let's see if these games actually work on here. We'll dive into a bunch of games from a bunch of collections, and we'll find out for ourselves. All right, guys, we jumped in here, we checked out this product right here, and first off, I love the concept of this. I love the idea behind this. You can have a plug-and-play game console on a digital picture frame, actively game on there, but when you're not gaming, you can just turn it into that digital picture frame that just rotates through a bunch of photos. Very cool concept here. Price point seems to be on point, but what was the experience like? Now, I'm a gamer, so I'm focusing on the gaming side of this. That's what I think the majority of people would be buying this for in the first place. And looking at the box, it looks like that's what they're really marketing it towards. You have all those Neo Geo titles displayed across the front of this. It's a very cool concept here. But how did it pan out? First off, we jumped into this, we toured through everything that is offered. The layout's not great. The all games list is basically useless for the most part. I mean, you can kind of explore through there, but it's a lot of bulk to kind of comb through, and it's not all in alphabetical order, so you have to use the jump to function to find what you're looking for. I found it easier to just go collection by collection and just kind of tour through it that way. Some collections had scraped data, some didn't. For those that don't know what scraped data is, it's your screenshots, your videos, your pretty much all of the data associated with every title. So when you have a text list, some of those titles are just blank. Some of those titles pull up a screenshot, a video preview in some cases, logos, all that flashy stuff that looks really nicely polished. Some don't though. So it's all over the place with that, but do the games work? I'd say about 70% of the games work on here. So as expected, N64 is a no-go. Mario Kart 64 looked like it was going to be a good experience. Everything was looking good. I was setting up the game, and then I got to the part where you select your character, and it completely crapped out. The controls no longer worked. The only thing I could do is back out. But when I try to go back further into it and select my character, controls just completely died out again. So weird issue. I've never encountered that before, but I had that issue with a couple games in the N64 collection, and unfortunately, due to a variety of issues, I never got N64 up and running. I jumped into some games that, like WCW NWO Revenge today, just completely, were a mess. You could hear the audio in the background, but you see nothing on screen. So, unfortunately, it's just too underpowered to effectively emulate N64. And the same can be said for Dreamcast. Dreamcast only had a handful of games on here, but the games that were included are great games. They just are so slow and laggy that it's unenjoyable to play. I mean, what would take you 30 seconds to play a quick little matchup in Dead or Alive probably would take you like 2 minutes to complete that same exact game because everything's just super slow motion. PSP actually surprised me, but there's random glitches that just kind of enter into your gaming experience at random, and that does ruin the experience. So I messed around with like frame rate a little bit, but the frame rate really wasn't the issue here. You can see as I jumped into Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny here, everything was moving great, and it would just randomly glitch out, and you'd lose your place, and then it would come back, and then randomly glitch out again. So who wants to play like that? I would just leave PSP off, leave Dreamcast off, leave N64 off, and focus on all the other things that are offered here, because there is a lot. Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all that stuff, Famicom, Capcom System 1, 2, and 3, all that works beautifully on here. Neo Geo also works perfect on here. So I would focus on those, and I would just make those collections a little bit more seamless, where everything is scraped the same way. It's easy to navigate. The only issue I had with some of the Nintendo collections were some of them I had to go in and manually set up the configuration for the controller. I'd get into a game and none of the controls would work. So situations like that, when you're buying a product that comes with 2 controllers, those controllers should work out of the gate. The user shouldn't have to go in and configure things. Luckily, I know my way around RetroArch and stuff like that, so I was able to do it, but the majority of people are buying this because it's plug and play or advertised as such. They don't want to have to go in and configure things. If it doesn't work, they're probably going to pack it up and send it back. So stuff like that, they got to fine tune it a little bit, but you saw what the experience was like with those collections that do run well. If what you're looking for is one of those collections that runs very nicely on here, and PlayStation, I will say, is one of those that runs perfect without any issues. I jumped into Crash Team Racing. I had a blast playing it. Stuff like that works well on here. The only thing that doesn't is N64, Dreamcast, and PSP. So if you're looking for a good Sega Game Gear experience, or a Famicom experience, or a Capcom system experience on a product like this, it has your back 100%. So I think that if you can get it for less than $100, and you can if you click the link in the description of this video, it's worth it to the right person, but it's not going to be for everybody out there that wants to have those more higher end gaming experiences available to them on a somewhat portable plug and play console like this. But very cool idea here. To the right person, I think it definitely will find its home. But click the link in the description of the video to learn a little bit more about the product. That is going to do it for today. Hit me up in the comments of this video and let me know what you guys think about what you saw here today with this emulation station based plug and play game console here, built into a digital picture frame. Thanks guys for watching. You guys know the deal. Smash the thumbs up button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys right here on the next video.